Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Mothers Unfiltered. Thank you for tuning in now, later, 2 years from now. Like I always say, thank you for sharing this time to communicate with you guys, to talk about all different types of topics. And on this spicy Valentine's Day, even if you're not celebrating it with anyone, we're going to be talking about sex. Something, and here's the thing though, I'm gonna put a disclosure out there real quick for the audience jumping on. I just want to say that this is for the grown folks. I know that there are people that may be 18 or 19 who watch the show. You will hear some things that you may say, what? I'm going to actually be very professional about it. I'll use words like fellatio and these type of things and articulate as professionally as I can, while my cousin Ty might get a little raunchy. So I'm going to introduce our guest, which I'm so happy that she's here taking this time today to tune in. But before we do that, Ty, drop some knowledge.
Y'all already know the routine. If you're on YouTube and you have not yet hit that subscribe button or the like or share or comment it, do so. Boom, 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 boom. And if you're part of the Facebook group that's watching this live, please make it over to the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe, like, share, comment. Help your girls out if you like what we do. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you make it to the Facebook Mothers Unfiltered LLC group. And we could also be found on Instagram. Bada bang.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Once again, happy Valentine's Day, regardless if you are with somebody or you're just loving on your mom or dad or whatever the case may be. For me, it's a double dose because it's Valentine's Day. My last name happens to be Valentine, and hers too. But it's also my anniversary, so please excuse the backdrop. I'm out on the beach trying to do it big. But back to our guest and our special topic, we have Dee Whitley, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She has adopted a variety of systematic therapeutic approaches, which are personalized to serve the individual's needs of the client. She has learned to incorporate non-traditional methods and activities in order to make therapy enjoyable and engaging. Her passions lie with the transgender community, populations of color, and sexual satisfaction in relationships. Thank you, sister. As a therapist, Dee believes pain is real and so is hope. So definitely they both are real, and we're so thank you that you're taking this opportunity where people are doing all different types of things today, tonight. They started early in the morning, but let's talk about sex. And once again, I'm going to be as professional as possible, but I want to ask you a serious question just to start off. How are people interacting in reference to the whole COVID? And the reason why I mentioned this up, because a lot of times, especially back in the days, you see somebody, you're like, hey, I got my condom, I got my room, I'm ready to rock and roll. But with that being said, you got your face mask, your condom, your hand sanitizer. You got a bubble wrap. Like, how are people having sex with the COVID? Talk to me.
If I think about my social media, I think a lot of people are doing go backs. We'll call them go backs. People are kind of messing with old booze because you kind of know how their routine is compared to like joining into something new. I mean, I do know people who are still dating new people or whatnot, but I think a lot of time, for most people, they're kind of either masturbating like crazy or they're going back to, let me go to somebody that I already know.
Okay, that they feel comfortable for. Okay, and I just wanted to get that out there because, of course, I'm actually, in a relationship and everything, so I'm not doing nothing, crazy. But for all the people who are just meeting people, like, what happens? There's so many things to worry about. Mm-hmm. There's so many juicy topics that we want to talk about. Okay. I want to put it out there. There were people that messaged me privately and said they had some questions. Okay. Anonymously, we're going to go that route. The first question.
I'm trying to figure out where you're leading it to, where I could jump in and just be free.
Well, we're going to take baby steps. Let me just tell you how the conversation is going to go. Okay. Because you know what, Miss, we have conversations here, and we're just going to kind of gradually get into it. We don't want to just like,
I'm trying. Look, baby girl was trying to open up the golden gate. So am I doing it fast or are we going slow?
Sometimes you just got to do a little bald-headed hoe shit. I mean, sometimes you just got to bust it on open.
Bust it wide open is what
I guess. And you know what? Let's do the foreplay. Go ahead, Kia. Lead us.
Thank you, because I do love foreplay. And if anybody's listening that I know, I'm talking about something else. But in regards to foreplay, I wanted to ask a question. A lot of times, and I was reading a study, and it was talking about basically a lot of people that cheat. But the reason why in relationships people find out that they're cheating is because they're not able to express how they really feel. Mm-hmm. So you're dating Michael and you and Michael are vibing, but all of a sudden it's a thing that, you like your toes sucked. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You into unicorns and goose and geese and all types of stuff that you're like, well, wait now, you never told me. Like, why is it so taboo for people to kind of just initially and say, this is what I'm into, kind of getting off already instead of being in a relationship and then finding out that you're a freak of the week?
Sorry, y'all going to meet my guest host, Tico.
Okay.
So I think the biggest, people aren't really comfortable with their sexuality. I know, like, I reside in the South, in Tennessee, which is a part of the Bible Belt. Sex is not something that's openly talked about. And then if we think about kink and issues and whatnot, a lot of people don't know that the biggest exposure that a lot of people had, even though this movie series has gotten a lot of backlash, is 50 Shades of Grey. That was something because it was so mainstream. So a lot of people was like, oh, what's this? Oh, what this? I know for me personally, I was in grad school when it came out. And so I like, what it is? So a lot of it is that people just don't have the space is not created. And then so people are scared to have those conversations because they don't want to be judged. I mean, if you like your toes sucked, you can't just be like, hey, my name is Dee and I want you to suck my toes, but I want you to suck from the pinky toe to the big toe. Like,
well, wait a minute. Do you think that there's also a case where people may not even know what their needs are? Maybe they're not even comfortable with themselves to articulate it.
Most definitely. I think a lot of it happens with women because historically, sex was to be like for procreation, and then also women were not allowed to explore their bodies. And so especially if you come from a religious standpoint, masturbation frowned upon or whatnot, but then about the women, a person who is born with vulva is the only person who has, like, quote unquote, I guess, like what you would say, evidence that they're a virgin, but the hymen is a whole different story. But most people use it like, oh, their hymen or her cherry has been popped. That means she's not a virgin. This, that, or where a man, you don't.
Right.
You don't really know. So if we think about how that has translated over time, a lot of people haven't had that ability to even explore. They just have do what they see on porn or do what they hear their friends say. And also because those conversations aren't being had as kids are growing up in an age appropriate manner, so they can realize like there's levels to it. So I think that's part of the reason why people aren't sure of themselves or comfortable with themselves or know their own sexual needs, because they haven't had time to explore them.
Question. And maybe because I'm a Gemini and I lack patience that I need, let's just get it open. I did a little bit of foreplay. First question on the table. For people, and I didn't say this is me, I'm happy, I got things happening. But for people who don't have gag reflexes, and they're trying to do fellatio, with their significant other, and they're just not making it work. There was a question out there about the whole banana trick and just trying to like make that work. Is that something you would suggest for people who are not able to give good fellatio? I'm just putting it out there. I'm just not sure this is a question.
I don't know if I would use the banana just because of like the coarseness ends, and it could potentially, I would say, if you wanted to practice, I would say use a cucumber because of the fact it's like slender, and then it's also very like smooth. So that you're not going to like.
So the ones that be like, wait, how am I? Wait.
I got one in the fridge right now. And not on purpose. I like that type of cucumber.
And so I think that would be the biggest thing. I think also like if you are in a sexual relationship, having a conversation like, how do you like fellatio? How do you like this? How can I get better at this? And then from there, that's the start of the conversation to like improve.
Wait, okay. So how do you deal with a partner that you're telling them, this is what I like, this is what satisfies me, but they are part of the can't get right crew? I'm telling you what I need, and you just don't want to listen. And
like that's gonna work.
Like we're gonna part ways. Yes. Because in a sense, like I can't give you it's not fair for me to give you what you need, and you're not giving me what I need. So that's not fair, because then resentment, cheating is going to happen, and then you're opening up a can of worms. So and I feel like in any type of relationship, whether it's romantic, sexual, whatever, if you're expressing what you need from them and they're refusing not to try to get some act right or give you what you need, then they're showing that they don't honor you, they don't value, they don't respect you, because they're not taking initiative.
It's funny you said that, and I read a comment.
I know, that's what I'm looking at.
Wait, let's stop real quick before I can even. This threw me off real quick. Cucumbers and unicorns. What in the? Hey,
it is Kia's anniversary, and it's Valentine's Day. Okay.
With that being said, you mentioned about people not being able to get right. I've met people who have expressed that there is no type of fellatio going on at all, and they seem very depressed. And no, well, it's kind of like, well, how do you break that? I mean, you've been with a person for years. I've been with Bobby for 12 years, and he won't go down there. And I try to go down there, and, we'll do everything else, but those things, are just not, it's not happening. What do you do then? Just kind of just cry in your diary? I mean, I'll be looking at people like, wow, some bad households.
I think it goes back to that conversation. I'm really big, I guess, like as a marriage and family therapist, as a relational therapist, and a sex therapist, the biggest thing is having these uncomfortable conversations. Okay. Instead of like, why don't you like it? Why don't you enjoy it? Or what have you heard about it as the reason why you're not doing it? Because it could just be an attitude that they grew up around about like, oh, so-and-so do this, or we don't do this. And so it's like having that conversation about why, so therefore you can get more clarity on why it's not happening, or if it's ever going to happen.
Okay. So, all right. So let's say you have, a partner, y'all are like just great in bed, your bodies mesh, everything is beautiful. But do you think that like where we're at now, that outside of the sex that we have intimacy still in our relationships?
I think intimacy, I think one thing, people don't really know what intimacy is. I know personally, it took me being in a relationship and learning that sex is not equal intimacy, or whatnot. So I think it's more so of like knowing what it is. People can achieve intimacy, but it's not necessarily about sex. Like it's a bonus. Sex is a bonus, but it's not about sex. It's being able to have that emotional connection with whoever you are doing whatever with, and feeling secure and feeling connected. And that way, let's say if sex was not an option, y'all would still be able to create this magic, this passion with each other. So it's anyone can have it, but people have to know that intimacy is a different level of things. It's not something that happens overnight.
So there's a comment real quick here. Dr. McCrae says, If you're not sexually satisfied, there will absolutely be continued issues in the relationship, especially if you communicated it. It's really interesting, that comment there, because at the end of the day, I've been told that if a person doesn't know certain things, you could teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of, make them aware of what their body is, and then saying, hey, I'm sorry I'm talking this way. I don't know if my adult children are watching. But you have to be able to, teach each other, so then you guys can grow as well. But what happens if you're teaching each other? You actually are doing the things that you both enjoy in the bedroom, but they just ain't doing it right. I've heard from men like, hey, when women are having sex, they don't do it all the same. Like some girls, like if they're doing it from the back, they don't arch their back. It'd be like an ironing board, and it like hurts them. You got to get that deep, like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, in reference to those things, what happens if you're trying to teach your partner, but they just can't get it? So it's not like they don't accept it, because that was the other topic we just talked about, but they just are not getting that. They're not flexible. They just seem to be slow.
I think it's more so you maybe need to. Sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
Wait a minute.
It's okay.
Did you just call them slow?
Well, I'm saying what guys say, because they can't, because you got to put that,
I think it might be a visual. You have to think about it. If you're teaching anybody something, you have to make sure you're meeting how they learn. So you can tell me all day, but I need you to show me, like, let's put on a porn and show me this arch your back, or physically, like, honey, like, no, arch your back. So therefore, I can physically feel it, and then I can actually see it.
Okay. Now you mentioned the word porn a couple of times, and I want to talk about that. Is it unhealthy to watch a porn while you're actually having sex? Or
it's what works for you. Just like some people have open marriages, other people don't. It's
we'll
what
talk about that in a second. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying that we're gonna talk about that in a second. For the people,
Can we also just clarify, Mark? We will not be talking about unicorns unless it's a BOB, bring your own battery operated. Outside of that, Mark, no unicorns. Cucumbers might come up again. No.
Thank you for that clarity. But back to the porn. I know sometimes women do get upset as well if their boyfriends, husbands are watching porns and these different things. In my personal opinion, I don't think there is an issue. In my personal opinion, I feel like if you see or you catch or you saw something on the history or whatever that they did, that gives you some insight to see, okay, they're into this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you keep looking at this, so that must be, let me jump on that, switch up that wig real quick if you had one. I'm just saying how to keep a relationship for 13 years.
Let's talk about role playing too. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
We're gonna get real connected. So about the porn though, so would you say that it is okay for that man he shouldn't have to sneak? I don't think a man should have to sneak and watch porn.
It's
or a woman.
Anybody. I feel like do what works for y'all. I think I'm not going to give like a universal answer because different strokes for different folks. Yeah. I think like if you're going to watch porn, it should be a conversation that's had, so therefore everyone is aware. But do what works for y'all. I'm sorry, I don't have like this beautiful answer. I'm just going to be like, do what works for y'all.
Is there something that's unhealthy? I know I was watching an episode with I think it's Kirk Franklin, and he said he had a porn addiction where he's just constantly watching it and these things, and it's like to the point where he's not even getting aroused with his wife. Mm-hmm. He's like more aroused to what this fantasy is. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's like a balance that a one needs to have? I never actually heard of it until I heard his interview.
And so it's more so like, I guess like from a therapeutic sense, it's like finding the function of them watching porn. Like, what is it? Is it escape? Is it a stress reliever? Is it like is it a coping skill? Is it something that they've been doing since they were 16? So it's like a routine habit. It's more so like trying to find the function of what that porn is getting for them, whereas that they were self-proclaim themselves as having a porn addiction.
Okay.
I have a question. Well, I have many questions, but at what time in a couple's relationship would you suggest that they would even seek a sex therapist?
Good question.
I feel like any time, because I mean, I have clients that are single and we have different things. I have clients that have been married for 10 years. I have clients that have been married 15 years. I mean, it just depends on what they feel like they're needing from a sex therapist. I mean, somebody could get one, let's say, a partner becomes an amputee. So we got to talk about different things.
Oh, wow.
Pregnancy. I don't feel uncomfortable about my body, but because like being a sex therapist isn't about like, oh, we're talking about sex. It's really about the connection to oneself and then allowing someone else to experience that with you. So it's not just about like, oh, we tried missionary, let's try this. It's more so like, just, like, what is it that you're wanting and how can I support you to get to where you're trying to get?
I had a question come in through the text. Are there natural remedies for people with low sex drives?
I guess you could say that. I think it's more so of like, obviously I would say go to the doctor first, get any blood screenings because it could be a hormonal imbalance. Also, like, you know, when people are going through menopause, that impacts things, different medications. So it's about kind of like knowing where your body is. And then also I'm a really big thing, even with clients who don't have necessarily sex issues, is more so like if you start a medication, track it. And then also try to see like, did something influence that? Did I, you know, is my sex drive tied to my stress level at work? Is it tied to my exercise regimen? Is it tied to the food that I've been eating? Is it tied for this? You know, like just trying to see if there's some type of pattern before you be like, oh my God, I have a problem. It's more so like, let's see what's really going on before we're trying to self-diagnose ourselves.
That's awesome. I mean, for myself, or if I had a twin, I read something and it was basically saying, I forgot what it's called, and I don't want to say the word to mess up the title, but it's for people who get sexually stimulated mentally. And for me, I mean, you could show me anything, you could, you know, here's the pictures, here's this, the movie, and I'm just like, meh. But if you have that deep conversation, I'm like, so for that person there, maybe you need to talk to the right person. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got to get that deep thought going because I'm all about that mental thing. I like smart people. That's all I'm saying.
Have you seen an increase in clients around this whole COVID epidemic that we have going on regarding like how they're dealing with their self mentally and sexually and as a couple, and you know, even, you know, taking it further outside of that, are you talking, are there a lot of folks that are coming to you that are having trouble with time, even trying to do like play, you know, bedroom play, because the kids are home, you know, the fur babies are home?
I haven't had too many clients that have experienced the latter part of your question, but the first part, yeah, most definitely. Because what I've been telling people is that COVID has allowed us all to have a conference call with all of our demons that we have been trying to suppress. And it's like, Harry's here, Tom's here, Julie's here, Sarah's here. And it's like, no, like we can't avoid them or whatnot. So I think like the biggest influx is just people are really realizing like, oh, I'm not as good as I used to be, or like, we're not happy and whatnot. And so it's really about just trying to get them to like realize like, first of all, we're still in a pandemic and everybody's experiencing some type of hardship, whether it's internally, externally, financially, like everybody is having some type of silent battle go on because we're in a pandemic and we can't live our lives the best way that possible. So I think like that's the biggest thing. But as far as like sex, I haven't had too many people saying like they don't have enough time for sex. I have people that are not having as much sex as they would like.
Right.
There's just other external factors about that. But it also goes back to people aren't having conversations about what they need. So it's just easier to like dismiss it of like, no, I don't want to have sex today, than telling you you're not doing it for me.
It is hard for single people to have sex during the COVID.
For some, not all.
For some.
Yeah, well, I heard there's some people out there once again busting it wide open. I like that word.
Why?
I'm just sorry.
Well, not these golden gates.
So I had a question, another question on the phone, and basically the question was: is it okay? Is it safe for an individual to have intercourse while they're pregnant because they don't want to hurt? I mean, I gave my own personal opinion, but I'm not the licensed person.
It is. It's perfectly normal.
Okay.
It's actually one thing that people actually don't know is the closer you are to your like due date, the semen actually softens the cervix, which could then help expedite pregnancy. And so it's perfectly fine to have.
I guess the person thought that maybe the guy is thinking like, like I might be hurting or bumping the baby. That's why the baby comes with a birthmark on the head.
No, because where the baby is, if you think about, it's in like the uterus, and the part that the penis is going to is like at the bottom. The baby all the way up here.
But you want to know what's so funny? At our age, you still have folks that are not familiar with the human body.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, then you talk about sex and even the ideologies around sex and religion and their home culture, however they were brought up, how we function, as society, as individuals. It's again, because we are not fully educated about stuff. We really aren't. Like, I didn't really have those conversations, growing up with my family. The first time, like, I, had consensual sex, and I came home, I spent the night with the guy, and the conversation with my mom was, did you use a condom? And we did. That was it. Like, that was the conversation we had around sex, not even around like the body and needs and the mind.
What are you needing, Ty? Talk to me. I'm not licensed like Dee is, but I need to know the secrets.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Because a lot of people don't know. Like, I had a person one time that was like, so have you had sex with your clients? What? I was like, no, sir. I don't desire to. I'm not. I want to stay licensed in my
professional. Mm-hmm.
But it's just more so like when people are like, oh, you're a sex therapist, like then they have this concoction of what they had. But again, back to what you're saying, a lot of people don't have those conversations with their parents. My mom is watching. My mom and I had this conversation. Hey, Mom. And she's the reason why I got into the field that I did, because of the conversation that we've had and the influence that she had. I grew up in a sex positive home. I grew up in a home that encouraged masturbation. My mom said, masturbation is the safest sex you can have. You can't get pregnant or an STD. And that was it. Where I have other people that I know that are like, what? Your parent, your mom talked about that? Like, what? Well, it's just about that. It's
so interesting. And every show that I do, a lot of times it always goes back to self. Because I hear you, you're free, you're open, you're like, hey, this is what's going on. It sounds encouraging, even if you didn't know too much about sex, or you're just, starting off, or you're kind of scared about this, just your energy overall is like, man, let's have this conversation. Let's, talk about these things. And it's so unfortunate that there's a whole group of other people who are just very hush hush. We don't talk about this. I really, really do want those anal beads. Yes, I mean, for people who don't know, but I'm not saying once again, people, it's not me per se, but if you were into anything like that, they have that openness and some don't. And it's very, very unfortunate. I want to jump on to this comment right here. It was like, role playing can keep things spicy. in regards to role playing, of course, you have a lot of different stores that sell. You have different stores that that sell different items and different stimulants and these different things. Would you suggest for people to go out there now and just kind of consult, with the store clerk on the different products? I mean, because you have like dummies now, like the what do they call, Ty?
Like I'm supposed to the life-size dolls, or am I way thinking someplace else? What are we asking about? Because I'm sorry, this comment, it just threw me off. Can we block this person?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
We don't do those.
Yeah. Just to put out there, if anybody is wanting to talk vulgar in any way, definitely this is not the show, because you will be blocked. We are definitely unfiltered, and we love all types of people, regardless if you are straight, bi, transgender, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
We love our LGBT community. We love everybody. We don't play those nonsense. Let's get back to the positive energy.
Yes.
It slowed through. Did you see how the energy switched? It
it threw me off too.
You got the stuttering and everything. Together. All right, y'all. What was we talking about?
We talking about the thing.
Our anal beads. Was it role playing or anal beads?
Role playing.
Okay.
So when you, no, seriously, that comment did throw me off, because we don't have anybody here. So I
filtered, but we ain't.
I wish I knew who that was, because I definitely would call a person out in a heartbeat. But we're gonna keep it 100 and positive right now. But back to the role playing. You go to the store and you have different types of toys and things that you can get into. Do you bring your partner over? Do you talk to? Are you ordering these products? I know there's a candy coated product. The woman, how are you? Is it okay to bring these products home? How do you hide these products from your kids who may be in your dresser drawers?
That you get the toy box.
Yeah, you get a toy box. Some people have
a toy box.
Somebody
it has a lock on it and everything.
Don't you get it really close to you?
No, you keep it under the bed, in the closet, on top, under. It's a toy box. It's I'm sorry.
I gotta be asking for myself. How do you hide this shit?
They don't know what it is. I had a nice, pretty pink toy box, it was very nice. You don't know what it is. It could be a safe. You could have jewelry in there. Unless you have the code to get in, don't nobody know. Don't be nosy.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So speaking of anal beads, for people who are trying to go over and beyond and do and experience things in other avenues, what would they do? What would you suggest for them to do? What is anal bead? I don't know what those are. I'm being honest, guys. I know
I don't have any in my office.
You keep them?
But it's more so, it's just a way of anal play. The biggest thing, if you have not ever participated in any type of anal, don't use numbing cream, because if you use numbing cream, then you don't know what's happening. So something could happening that's not supposed to be happening, and you don't know until the cream wears off, and then we got a whole nother problem. 2, don't start big. Start small, or whatnot, because this also could be a comfort thing. You can put a finger, a thumb, or whatever, just to see how you're feeling. Also, so it's just more so trying things. I highly encourage couples or partners or whatever to go to the sex store together. So look at things. What are some things that we want to try? Create a sex bucket list. That could always be fun, of things that you want to do, whether it's we want to join the Mount Hot Club, we want to be, do these different things. So therefore it's an engagement. It's one, keeping it spicy and keeping it fun, but then also, it gives you something to look forward to.
I'm sorry.
I like challenges.
No, they're not challenges.
I mean, I'm not a part of the Maha Club, but I need a membership. I
know some people who got memberships. I don't have a membership, but I know people who got some.
I don't even know what that is.
What? You better. Okay. Are you able to explain what that is, professional?
Yes, it's just having sex on the airplane.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it.
Yeah, just get in that stall, close that door, make some noise. Wait, let's see here. Okay, my husband. Wow, a sex bucket list. I'm taking notes. This was a young picture, about 13, 14 years. Definitely more mature. He's a man. Thank you for taking notes, dear husband.
You do know they also have the sex toys where it's like the vibrational thing in the panties, and then the
like that is fun. I think that would be such a I think the movie The Ugly Truth had a like scene in that, and that would be something like. So, like, how awesome would that be? Like, y'all are at dinner and y'all like, oh, we're gonna try something, and then you're like, or like.
Now, here's the thing that's so funny that you mentioned that, because I know a couple of people that actually have gotten their clitoris pierced, and when I speak to them, like, hey, you know, like, did it hurt you? Did this and this? They said that they will spontaneously just have an orgasm, and it's like, okay, on one end, that's cool, but on the other end, it's like, well, that'd be awkward. Like, you're talking about, you know, to grandma over the phone, and you're like, oh, wait, you know, one of those moments.
About the movement and where the ring actually is, because, you know, if you think about the clit, it has the hood, which is where the hood is over the actual clit. So if you have the ring that is like maybe horizontal, then that ring, if you're like moving, is rubbing up against the clit, which would then cause an orgasm, compared to if you have like the piercing that's at the top, like at the meat before the split, you know, like that's not really going to arouse you. It just depends on where the piercing actually is.
Okay.
So we can you get to them, Kia? Because
okay, so somebody says used to love public places. I don't know, right? Because I'm not on Facebook right now. I'm streaming from Facebook as well, so I can't see who the person is. But whoever you are, high fives to that. I'm all about being adventurous. You know, for those who they know me or not. No, I you know, you got to be. I think you have to spice things up. I think that you should do it. I don't even want to talk about myself. Okay, moving along. Butterfly clips. What are they?
I've never heard of those, so I'm not really sure what butterfly.
Well, I don't even want to say that she's my best friend, but she is.
Would be her to say that.
Yeah,
we know what they are.
What butterfly clips are. I mean, there's something that's pulling something up. Okay. All right. Airplanes, trains, Greyhound buses gotta be adventure.
You do. You gotta keep it. You gotta keep it spicy.
Yes. I don't know about the Greyhound bus. I'm not in my early 20s anymore, and them buses be dirt. I don't do that. I think. Okay, moving on. All right, so we're gonna hide that. Anything else?
Melissa, hey. But again, I mean, all this stuff, like, you know, the role play and being adventurous, going outside, you know, doing different things together. You still have to be able to be comfortable with one another to be able to do stuff like that. I actually want to do like the couples yoga. And
I've seen that.
Yeah, they be all that stretching and stuff.
I'm like the sensual one, you know. I'm good with the 5-second hit it and quit it, but I like that passion and that fire and that like connection and that I'm the real No.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this personal, so don't. but maybe.
But I'm not about her though.
But maybe. So what happens when you're trying to do the whole intimacy and sensuality and all that, but the guy that you with or husband, it's just like, come on, like this is just, like taking too long. Like you ever see those cards and that card be like, tell me about the first time you ever, and you getting it, or kiss me for 10 minutes, 10 seconds. And then they're like, okay, that's enough. Like, what do you do for an individual that's just not patient? Like they just want to just do it.
Y'all probably gonna be like, this girl, all she said was have a conversation. It's gonna be about having a conversation, because of the fact, if you are wanting to do something different, then that means like something isn't working. And that means if they're being impatient, then y'all haven't had that conversation for them to be open enough to be like, we're gonna try something new. Like, let's try something different. Instead of like us just doing missionary, let's start missionary, then I want you to flip me over and hit it from the back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just about that communication, because everything, there's a reason for everything.
Yes. Preach. Oh,
I can't listen, I cannot have no mundane partner. It's just not gonna work out, and it's just not happening. Mm-hmm. You gotta
come with it.
This is a woman show episode right now, and we don't got time for the fake games.
We don't have time for slow sex in 2020.
Listen, you gonna dig in and eat, or you just gonna sit? Don't sit at my table. Bottom line,
my God. Wait, so back to too much teasing is not medically good. What?
Oh God!
Jesus.
Teasing who? Yourself or your partner?
I think what my husband is saying. Well, you know what? I can say that I do play a lot of games, and that just makes me who I am. And I guess it's very frustrating sometimes, because I'm the type of person to get somebody, like, back in the day, you get somebody blue balls and you're like, I'm out, peace. One of those individuals.
That was a personal dig.
Oh, wow.
Y'all need to have a conversation about that.
Everybody is bitter, not happy, but hurt, and still thinking about an incident. Talk about it.
Okay. I'm gonna get off of me real quick, and I want to talk about a comment that came on the phone.
Okay.
And the comment that came on the phone was, a lot of times, and I'm thinking that you might say just seek a professional, a doctor, but supposedly if you're having a lot of Black women, they say have a lot of rough sex, and their men are made differently than other demographics, which causes fibroids. As they wanted to know, is that true? Should they stop having rough sex? Or
I've never heard of like fibroids being linked to rough sex.
I didn't know. I'm just asking.
I haven't heard of that, so I don't want to give an answer and it not be correct. I would just, I mean, there's a billion things. I mean, like one time they were like, drink too much coffee, it'll cause something. So I would just say seek medical. And if you have one, or if you think you have one, go to the doctor. That's my.
Okay. No, that's fair. And that, like I said, it was just a question that came in on my phone. Another thing, so, since we mentioned rough sex, so how rough is too rough? Like, like there's some people like just throw all this shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, this whole counter, because some people are grown and we don't play the, you got to have them Timbs on, you got to put the hat back. I'm from you, but I'm not talking about myself. Just talking about some people. How rough is too rough?
If you're having bleeding, pain, then we have reached a new level of rough.
Okay.
Or whatnot. But also remember, your genitals are part of your body.
Yes.
There's only so much that they can take.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be pounding anybody like they're like cement to a jackhammer. Like we don't.
And check in with your partner, regardless if you're getting beat with a paddle or tickled with a feather, just check.
All that stuff has methods to it, like paddling. Like it has a method. It's about like the pain with the massage to like
right.
So feel like it's the same spot,
then,
but it's not like it's like a
you know, when you rub it out. It's that,
and then rub it out. Now
it's the listen.
Oh, I'm listening. Me and Miss D listening. We listening. We need you to talk. This your
now
what happened now when you use the paddle?
Again, it's just checking with your partner. I mean, listen, some people want to get knocked out, others just want a gentle tap.
Yeah.
Some want their car stolen and dragged across the floor. Others just want to be caressed.
Some people like a little choking and stuff. Yeah, okay. My God. Y'all getting too grown for me up in here.
But again, like you're just thinking how everyone is different, and I guess just goes back to having those conversations.
Somebody checking in on
a safe word.
You gotta have a safe word. Somebody said, "Don't hit me, I will hit you back." Okay, that needs to be a conversation had up front.
I'm good.
Okay, so my question for you is, of course, we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own turn-ons. This one has their own turn-ons, whatever the case may be. But is it a matter of perception what's considered healthy sex? Because you hear doctors and you hear professionals talk about it like this is healthy, and then this wouldn't be healthy. Is that just an opinion, or is it truly, these are the perimeters of healthy sex? Having sex maybe 3 to 4 times a week and doing it this way and these things, or it's just a matter of opinion?
I think that's a matter of opinion. Now, if you're having non-consensual sex, that is unhealthy. Or if you out here raping people, that is unhealthy.
Of course.
But as far as like how many times you want to have sex, if y'all want to have sex every day, knock yourselves out for 2 hours at a time. If y'all can do it and all your bodily organs are operating properly, do you, boo-boo, follow your heart.
So what would you suggest in the case of folks that like have had conversations with their partner? And I think this kind of circled back to what you were saying before, Kia, but like, so let's say about the frequency of sex. So let's say you have one partner that is very sexually active, likes to be very sexually active with their partner, and one is not as, doesn't have that same feeling like that. How do you suggest they work that out?
I think it could be like there's a lot of stigma around scheduling sex. But that could be a simple thing of like, we're going to have sex on like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's about trying to find a happy balance of like, that may be like, okay, well, let's have an alternative relationship. Let's, I don't want to necessarily have sex, but let me watch you play with yourself. Or, like you can get creative. That's the one thing about sex is that it's about doing what makes you happy, do what makes you're interested, whatever works for your partner. But I think, again, it goes back to having that initial conversation. So therefore, one person doesn't resent the other one, and that we can be on the same playing field and figure out what is going to work for us.
It's interesting. And I have heard you say throughout the show, you have to have that conversation. You have to be able to talk about it, because if if you don't have that communication with your partner or the new person that you found, no one will know what you're into. I guess my thing is, and maybe you answered it, but maybe I didn't catch on to it. If you're having a conversation, let's talk about open relationships.
Okay.
And a person's like, you know what, I think I might be interested in bringing, this individual along into our bedroom, and what happens? A partner's like, it ain't for me. And, one of those things, like you're not going to, this person has this sexual desire. Been in this relationship for whatever years or whatever the case may be, but the other person's like, that's just not for me. You know, that's what I'm believing that's what causes that friction, because that sexual desire is not being met. But we're having that conversation. So it's like, what do you do if, whatever the case may be, it doesn't even have to be an open relationship. It could just be something that is just not normal or that person's uncomfortable with. You can't change someone's mind. It's just, you're just forced to just deal with it.
I wouldn't say necessarily like force, like, oh, we'll never talk about this again. But what else could we do? Like, what else could we do to like spice up our sex life? And then it goes back to my notion of like finding the function of the behavior. So if somebody wants to bring in somebody else because they feel like they have the same type of sex every day, so they want something different, that's a conversation to be had. A lot of times when people are having these conversations, they come out with these ideas, but they're not really talking about how they got to that idea of like, I want us to do this. I want us to be more adventurous. I want us to do this. Instead, they come up with this, I don't want to say like shock factor, but kind of like this, like boom. And you're like, whoa, where did this come from? And so it's about kind of like trying to figure out how can we find a happy medium. I don't feel comfortable bringing someone into the bedroom, but I have no problem spicing up our love life. It'd be like the same thing of like, as in movies, they have things where like the couple will go out to a bar and they'll adopt a whole different name. And so they're like meeting each other up or whatnot. And that could be something as simple of like, we're just going to take on these whole new people and do this whole new type of sexual life. So it's just about figuring out a way to compromise. So therefore everybody's getting their needs met.
I know we've been educating and laughing and talking about sex, but I want to like really switch gears really quick because I know we're, coming up on time, but I want to ask you, not about your sex life or anything like that, but I guess like, what is the part that you really enjoy about your job? And what you do, like what really motivates you every day to be like, I want to deal with these couples, I want to help them with these things or whatever it is?
Ooh, let me think.
Oh, see, quick answer for everything.
I think it's more so of like, I've wanted to be a sex therapist since middle school. So it's more so of like, I've wanted to be one so bad that I just love what I do. That's what keeps me motivated. It's not like I just really love being a therapist. I love seeing, I guess this is what motivates me because it happened yesterday. It's about seeing people's progression. It's about seeing them coming in and being on the brink of
No,
I
want to hear. Well, maybe she comes back in.
Guys, when we're live, anything could happen.
I know. Let's see.
Oh.
Is she coming back in? She was
she froze.
Let me bring her back in and see. Give me a second.
All right, guys, just give us a second. You already know how it goes.
Let's see. Oh no.
It's live, it's unfiltered. We don't know what might happen. Stuart Bailey, sorry, can't share.
I think he was talking about in reference to open relationships.
Okay.
There we go.
The power went out.
Oh, the power went out. You guys storming over there?
But we're gonna finish this interview because we're almost.
Can we get it up? Can we get it up?
Wow. That's what happens when we're live. Anything can go down. Are you guys okay? Is it a storm?
I think it's snowing where I'm at. So that probably has something, and they were fixing something. So that's probably it. I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll hurry up. We got a couple of minutes. Oh, yes, I will. Oh, yes. Go. So again,
to answer your question, it's about seeing the progress of my clients. Mm-hmm. It's about them being on the brink of divorce or being so unhappy, and then we're trying things, we're communicating, and we're practicing things, and they get to a point where they're like, they don't need me. Because the thing about being a therapist is my job is not to hold it. My job is to hold your hand, but my job is to give you tools. So therefore, in future situations that happen, you can go back to that toolbox and be like, you know what, we practiced this, or we did this. Like, there was something Delisi said, but then also knowing that you can always come back to therapy. Therapy is not like, oh, if I'm in therapy one time, I got to be in therapy forever. It's about come and go as you feel like you need to. Sorry, y'all. I know that I froze.
No.
Listen, again, you did your thing because you jumped back on with your phone flashlight. That's a boss.
Yes. Well, she's Miss Professional.
Let me make it out of 15
Yeah. Let me ask this last question that came on the phone. So, let me just phrase it appropriately. And two individuals and they're having intercourse and the sex is great, but he cannot stimulate her enough, I guess, to have an orgasm. Is there something that he needs to do in regards to, I guess, hitting that G spot?
Okay, so a lot of times what people don't know is most people who have vulvas cannot have an orgasm off of penetration alone, which is a lot of times people need to the clit, and that's why like those little bullets and vibrators are so handy because of the fact as a person is enjoying, let's say, doggy style or different positions, having that clitoral stimulation is what is going to really kind of bring a woman to
her climax. Yeah,
her climax rate. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. Go ahead.
I just want us to remember, guys, that even like we've been talking a lot about sex, but Miss D as her profession, it goes way beyond just sex. You're talking about couples and individuals and a healthy mentality and growth within yourself and your relationship. So if you do want to reach out to her, we will make sure that you get her information. But again, I just want to I want to be authentic and, transparent about what you really do, even though we've geared the topic towards, sex talk. It's more, you do more than just that. Yeah. So I just wanted to circle back.
Thank you. And I know you have your own podcast as well. Can you let everybody know about that?
I do. My podcast is called Morning Sex and Pancakes. It is my way of providing sex education in an innovative manner. We are almost at 1 year in April. We will celebrate our first year of it. You can find it on Apple or Spotify or whatnot. We have an Instagram, Morning Sex _Pancakes. That's it. So
who don't like both of those things?
Huh?
I said, who don't like sex? Both of those things. Sex.
I know. That is my baby. That is my little love.
And they could just download that and if they want to contact you once again, definitely you can hit us up. Or you have a website, or do you have a contact?
No, if they have Instagram, there's an email me button. They can just click. It's me. I'm a one-woman show, so I'm gonna answer it, or whatnot. So that's just kind of.
Yeah. we want both on one plate.
Listen. I love our viewers. I love our
you come around and now
you never know what you might talk about. Jump on, jump in, jump around. Guys, remember Facebook or YouTube. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please do so. If you love what we do, help your girls out. Again, we have the Facebook group. Kia has been dropping some knowledge, some history for Black History Month. So if you just go on there and join, you'll get all of those jewels. And we have further conversation in the Facebook group as well. So please go there. And also, again, follow us on Instagram. Dee, thank you so much. Kia.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again, humbly, for letting everybody know about answering their questions that they had in regards to sex, but you also do so much more. So definitely please follow her on Instagram and download her podcast as well to get all that information. And definitely if there's questions that you didn't want to ask, because it's like, I know that my grandma's on this page. So I don't know what's going on. It could be personal, but she'll definitely have those answers for you. But I definitely want to give a huge shout out on my last minute of airing to my husband. I love you. I want the whole world to know that. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're my best friend. If I had to do it all over again, I would. Love
Valentine's and anniversary.
Thank you. Love you.
Anniversary.
Okay, so talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.